Good morning. I am out in the Ochoco National Forest in central, sort of east central Oregon, doing some exploring. If you haven't already, you can go watch the first episode of this series. I'll put a link in the description below. Yesterday was kind of cloudy, even had a little bit of rain. Saw some nice scenery, but the colors didn't really pop. Sun is trying to get out here. I'm seeing some blue sky. Let's go. I don't have a really clear, defined plan out here for these few days. I did some scouting and satellite imagery, marked some areas that look like they might be interesting, some potential points of interest, and I'm just kind of deciding as I go which way I want to go.
One hour later.
So we are a ways into the morning. I haven't really had much to show you. I've just been logging miles and miles and miles through some, I mean, it's nice, but it's unremarkable forest. I have to admit that I underestimated just how vast this area is. And so, as I look at these forest roads on the map, getting from here to here, it doesn't look like it should be that long, but it's really remarkable distances to travel here. Many miles that I've driven through have been part of burn, a lot of blackened tree trunks and dead conifers.
Where possible, I'm opting for roads that run along the spines of these ridges, where the occasional clearings yield expansive views, and I can see for miles and miles. And it's not all epic vistas all the time, but these more primitive trails are fun to explore as well. Scrambling for my big camera as I come to a stop, but that handsome forked horn buck dashes away before I can get a decent shot of it. I'm up at about 6,400 feet here and really appreciating the nicer weather today. I almost missed this through the trees on my left, but there's a lookout tower just up the hill from me. From here, I can't tell if it's a decommissioned site or in active use, but on the map I can see a side road leading that direction, so let's take a closer look. Yeah, this is definitely operational. There's clearly someone working here, so I'll move right along. I don't want to distract anyone from their lookout duties.
Wow, as we have continued to move east, it's gotten more and more sparse, more and more deserty. There's sagebrush, there's open areas that are rocky, some lava. There's still some forests here and there, but they're fewer and far between and much more sparse. Interesting how the ecosystem has changed as we've continued moving eastward. So this is one of the historical spots I wanted to check out today. And I've actually been here before. I've been to this spot before because this route, as it turns out, I've got a segment today that's overlapping what I did back in 2021. So I came past this spot, but last time I was here, there was an actual log cabin. You can see everything's black and orange. A fire has come through here and the log cabin is gone. All that's left is the old fireplace and the remains of an old stove. Wow. So at this point, I am actually leaving National Forest land, and I'm gonna cross an assortment of private land, BLM land, state land. I still have more to explore, but I think most of it is not National Forest from here on out.
Wow, that hillside with just layer upon layer of basalt formations is really eye-catching. Of course, I want to take a closer look at that. The next possible historic site I've marked is a little ways up that valley right there. So let's go see if we can find it. Well, there was something here, but what was this? I don't know. And why is there kind of a pit there? There's not much left of whatever that was. But what I realized is this whole area, the way it's sort of cut out, and it looks like there's some more ruins of stuff down there. It almost looks like maybe it was an old mill site or something. Let's go check that out down there. Yeah, so you can see some building ruins there, and there it looks like there's like a concrete pad there. I don't know if you can also see just these cuts in the hillside here moving their way up and down, and I can't quite interpret. Maybe it was mining. There are like piles of dirt, like tailings maybe. I don't know. There is a little river right there. Originally I was thinking like a lumber mill. I don't quite know what to make of this. Yeah, and it's pretty extensive. It goes there, and then more out along here, and more there, and other buildings over there. Yeah, here's some kind of a foundation footing here, along what was much more building. More foundation over there. Yeah, this was definitely some kind of big operation. Back home, I looked at some older maps and was able to find a clue. Turns out, my initial impression was correct. This was indeed a sawmill that was originally built in 1946. There was actually an entire company town tucked into this little valley, with over 30 houses, a company store, a cookhouse, 5 bunkhouses, and a post office. This mill was in operation until 1966, at which point most of the equipment was dismantled and moved to other mills the company owned around the state. A few miles downriver, my next point of interest is somewhere up this little-used trail. This is indeed a legit road on the map. All these historic sites are spots I actually marked years ago when I was researching my 2021 trip that passed through this area. Due to the heat that week and dwindling fuel supplies, I ended up bypassing some of these little side trips. So I'm taking advantage of being back in this vicinity to finally investigate spots I had noticed in satellite imagery back then. So the road does continue on up, and I can see on the map it goes on up and around. This is the spot I had marked though, and it looks like there was a fire here too. Trunks are blackened, and it looks like whatever was here burned. Look at that big weird square area. This is the spot that I marked. So there must have been something here, who knows what, but it all burned. Wow. Not to worry, this grass is very green. It's pretty wet on this hillside. There's like, you can feel water coming down through. I drove through water a few times. No fire danger here. Well, I do have one more historic site to try and find. A little ways further up in here, kind of getting to that point where I'm thinking about a nap. So I'll just kind of look for a shady spot to rest for a bit. As I'm continuing to look for a nap spot, this valley I'm driving through is narrowing into a more and more scenic little canyon. I finally found a spot in the shade for a quick nap, and all around me, the canyon has become even more rocky and dramatic. I've seen a wide variety of beautiful scenery on this trip, but I think this is my favorite so far. I just love driving through narrow, rocky backcountry gorges like this. While that canyon drive was amazing, I could see in satellite imagery before I came out here that it looked like it was going to be an interesting little stretch of road, but it was way more dramatic than I was expecting. So now I'm headed out through this little side canyon where there's an old ranch or something out here. Okay, this may now be my new favorite scenery of this trip. It is absolutely gorgeous out here. catching some glimpses of buildings that seem to be in the right spot. It's looking to be in remarkably good condition. Well, I was thinking this was going to be actually like an abandoned ranch, but it turns out there's actually somebody out here.
Welcome to the Phillips Center Wildlife Area. This is the Mers Creek Ranch. Is there anything I can help you with?
You can just tell me the best way out of here.
So this is Murderers Creek Ranch, and yeah, obviously I knew that Jason was out here. This is a historic site, and this was the last one that I wanted to hit today. Obviously I knew I was coming here and I was gonna run into Jason, but it's more fun for you if it's a surprise, right? So I am gonna camp here tonight, hang out with Jason, and our friend Scott is rolling in a little later this evening. So we're gonna hang out tonight. So I'm gonna wrap this episode up here. In the next episode, we'll take a look at this ranch because it's pretty cool. And I will go on with the next leg of my journey from here. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss an episode. Thank you for watching.